Panharmonicon presents a podcast.
Reverend, what the hell are you doing?
Target shoot. Clearly you don't mind.
That's far enough. I said stop.
Stop me.
You just shot crack shot off.
Well, he drew on me first. Well, he tried to. You do that again, I'm gonna shoot your nuts off alphabetically.
I'm crack shot, Mom.
Howdy. Howdy, 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 howdy.
Howdy,
Is what I would say if I was a cowboy. Or I would just say it as a general hi. I need to stop playing around. I say howdy to people sometimes.
I don't think I really use howdy, but I could more if I were a cowboy.
Do you think that's the only thing stopping you from using howdy more? Is that you're not a cowboy?
No, I think it's just hey is like a Swiss Army knife of like expressions. It can be like, hey, how you doing? It can be, hey, what's going on here? It could be, hey. You could just
Swiss Army knife of expressions.
like howdy. You can't really do that. Howdy kind of really just means like
What? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like howdy can't be like if you were trying to stop somebody from doing something. You
be
say,
like,
hey, you wouldn't be like
howdy.
howdy.
Like, that just sounded weird as soon as that came out of my mouth.
Like, that's an aggressive way to say hi. Like, why would you do that?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in one more time to another episode of Panharmonicon Studios presents
A podcast.
And if you could for us, say it every time, and we mean it every time. If you could like for us, if you could share for us, if you could subscribe for us, we would be deeply appreciative of anything you could do for us as we fight this invisible monster known as YouTube's algorithm and trying to get you guys more content. Today, you'd had to have read the title because you would not have understood what anything we said before Panharmonicon Studios Presents was about. But today we are doing what is considered, I guess, maybe like a spiritual sequel to Black Dynamite, otherwise known as Outlaw Johnny Black, once again starring Michael Jai White.
And seemingly a lot of the same characters that popped up in Black Dynamite.
Yep. You had Kim Whitley, Tommy Davidson.
I forget the actor who plays Bullhorn.
Byron. I know Byron. I think it's either Byron like Miles or something. Milton Miles.
And the actor that plays O'Leary, too, is in it.
Guy who plays O'Leary is in it. And it also stars Byron
Kevin
Mintz.
Chapman.
It also stars one of my favorite comedians, one of my favorite internet personalities, Tony Baker, who was the sheriff in the movie. It is
I thought Kevin Chapman played was he just like another sheriff?
only one, like, I don't know what his role, like, who he was. He wasn't the sheriff.
Oh.
Like, Tony was the sheriff.
Okay.
He was just like he was above Tony in a sense, but like he wasn't the sheriff. I don't know what you would call that, because it's not like he was a commissioner or anything like that. He just Oh no, I think he was the mayor.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
He was the mayor and Tony was the sheriff. So we say spiritual sequel because the two are technically not related at all. They just happen to have a lot of the same cast, some of the sort of same ideology. It's just that one is a blaxploitation film, the other one is a parody of Wild West movies. Not so much as spaghetti. I guess you could say it's spaghetti western, but it is more provocative and parodic, I believe, of that. I'm going to come right out and say it. did not like this movie as much as I like Black Dynamite.
Oh no,
And not just because like Black Dynamite is my favorite movie. It's just that this movie has a very hard time getting itself off the ground. It isn't until it gets itself off the ground that you're like, oh, this is actually like it's a fun time. But it takes, in my opinion, way too long to get to the part where it can finally start being good.
yeah. So complete transparency. I mentioned it when I walked in. I was like, I did not have a chance to finish it. So I think I had like 45 minutes left. So I'm gonna lean on you.
Ironically, I would say that was the part that was the funnest out of it all.
Well, I mean, but that's what I started to notice is like it was kind of like at the halfway mark because it is a long movie. It's like 2 hours, 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I think it one suffers from being around too long. Like it overstays its welcome. But also, I think it is trying to be like a real movie, if that makes any sense. Like when it came to Black Dynamite outright was just like, I'm a parody. I'm going to be a parody throughout this entire film. At no point do I ever want to be serious. Mm-hmm. And Outlaw Johnny Black was serious. It had its jokes. The problem is, I think like the first half of it is serious, and then the second half of it becomes like the parody movie.
Yeah.
And it comes across much more like a Mel Brooks movie than what Black Dynamite did. And as a result, I think it's crazy to say, like, I think it tried to rely too much on its plot. A movie should, but in this case, it's like, I kind of came for the laughs, and you didn't really want to give me laughs until like the back half of the movie.
Yeah, it was strange watching it because to your point, I think that's exactly what it is. It took a very long time to get off the ground, and honestly, I kind of found myself in this awkward mental space with it for like the first 45 to like 60 minutes, especially the opening of it, because I think when I first saw a trailer for this movie a couple years ago, I was excited because it felt like this is the spiritual successor to Black Dynamite. So of course I'm there for it. And I was going to say didn't see it immediately. I don't think if I did that would change anything. It's only been a couple years, but there were just some parts of it where it almost kind of felt like it didn't know what it wanted to be. And I think that's very apparent in its opening because it's when Black Dynamite brings a joke in, it's intentional. It lands virtually every single time. That's like the interesting thing about Black Dynamite. But with Outlaw Johnny Black, there were these things that they were saying, which they were just kind of like these throwaway lines that it seemed like no one was really paying attention to, and that the characters that you were watching were kind of incongruent to one another. Because there's a scene like when he's captured in the very beginning of the movie and he's got the handcuffs on, and he keeps saying this thing that I think is like super funny, but it's almost, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like they failed to emphasize it enough in the way that it should have been when he kept saying, "Oh, is the hat's name this?" Because all I did was shoot his hat, and then because he died from a heart attack that the bullet came so close. And I thought it's like, oh, technically that's funny, but for some reason it feels out of place. I don't know.
And I think it's weird because I don't think they were treating it like a joke. It honestly, and I think a big kind of part of it that was kind of weird for me was that it never felt like it wanted to be obvious that things were jokes. It's almost like, I guess that's kind of what, to like some degree I was saying, it was like kind of Mel Brooks' in its delivery, because everything was so understated. Like, for instance, the fact that when he went to save like the Native Americans, like the main Native American he saved was basically a white dude with blue eyes,
and never addresses why.
Yeah, and then like when he like later meets up with them to like, and they like after they saved him, that dude is like speaking, I think I'm not gonna guess the language, but it was like one of the Native American languages. But the clearly Native American woman next to him was the one speaking English.
Yeah,
and it's like that's one of those like, oh, ha 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 ha, how clever jokes, but it almost kind of failed to land because it felt like the movie wanted to. It's like the movie wanted to take it so seriously, but I also can't tell if that was the joke, right? like Johnny Black spends most of the movie almost seeming like he isn't congruous with the universe that he's within. Kind of like he's just doing things, but like people are. It's almost like they either aren't seeing that he's they're just like, oh, that's Johnny. Mm-hmm. And so like, to your point about like the hat, like how he kept harping on like, I shot a hat. Yeah, he did. That's right. But it's like they didn't care about that part, but they also didn't make it obvious that they didn't care about that part. It's like everybody had scripts that they just kept reading from without like paying attention to like what was happening within the movie itself. So that lasts, I think, just too long before it feels like everybody else suddenly gets in on the joke, and it's not really until he gets to the town that becomes like the part of it, like the point of it. So to give like a short synopsis on what Outlaw Johnny Black is about, it's about Outlaw Johnny Black, a person who is. It's hard to really say what he's supposed to be. He doesn't unlike Black Dynamite, where you kind of understand where Black Dynamite's line on things is. You don't really understand that so much with Johnny Black, because I spent a number of it thinking that he was supposed to be like Black Dynamite, where it was like, oh, he's just this righteous black brother. But in reality, he did do a number of the things that they are trying to arrest him for. Mm-hmm. And it's not until the very end of the movie where they give a better explanation on to why he truly is the way he is. Like you understand it through as the movie develops, but he finally says out loud what the problem is basically at the very end. So he was a part of, I don't think it was a traveling group, but his father was a pastor. His father was killed by a man named Brent something, who was is essentially just a bandit, not abandoned, but a bandit. And he swears revenge, but I guess because he lost his father, and I'm also assuming he must have lost his mother pretty early on, he sheds he sheds what he was before, and he steps away from God and the words that his father preached, and becomes much more like Brent. It's almost kind of like if instead of becoming Batman, Bruce just became a criminal.
He just became like Joe Chill.
Yeah. So when we meet up with him, he's been chasing Brent, who is supposed to be robbing this bank. He does eventually rob the bank only because the people that are looking for Johnny Black because of the bounty get a hold of Johnny first and end up missing Brent. So Johnny is to be hanged, but he ends up being saved by two Native Americans who he saved earlier, which got him caught in the first place. And they let him out in the middle of the desert. He goes further into the desert, almost dies because of lack of water. He's saved by Byron Mins, who is a pastor himself, who is looking to. He's headed to a town in Wyoming. The first town we're in is Cheyenne. I forget the name of the second town that we're in, but he wants to head towards that town because he's been in correspondence with a young woman there, and he is going to be taking over for pastor in this town because their pastor has passed away. So when he finds Johnny, the two of them talk, and they seem to be kind of cool with one another. But then another different group of Native Americans show up and happen to strike the pastor, who seems like he's died because he's been shot with an arrow. So Johnny kind of takes his stuff and dips out. Turns out that he's not dead because he was holding a Bible, which happened to stop the bullet, or not the bullet, the arrow.
You were right the first time.
So Johnny takes on his identity when he gets to the town, and in a bit that ran itself thin very quickly for me. Everyone knew that he was not the pastor. And yet he himself continued to act like he was the pastor and would sort of make himself seem like he was, but it was so evident that he wasn't. And everyone else knew that he wasn't, that it was like, why are y'all just continuing to play this role over and over and over again? But eventually he kind of almost gets found out. The original pastor, played by Byron, shows back up eventually. And the town itself is currently being, I want to say, being bought out. I don't know how else to say it, but the mayor and the sheriff are both basically being financially coerced by a rich white man who wants to buy the previous pastor's property. It turns out that he killed the pastor, and he killed the pastor because he wants what's on the pastor's property, which is oil. In addition to like the pastor, there's another individual by the name of Jesse, who's kind of like she's going to be their savior, in a sense. She's intelligent. She is looking to, I believe she went to law school. She is looking to basically build a black community in this city, the likes of like a Tulsa or a Rosewood, but she needs the cooperation of all in order for that to happen. Yeah. So everybody kind of looks up to her, and this guy wants her out because she's being too influential, and if she's so influential, she'll end up figuring out why he's there. Johnny kind of is a wrench in all of this because he's not really supposed to be there, and he does not prescribe to being passive the way that everyone else has been, which makes him butt heads with Jesse, but he eventually falls in love with her the way that she does him. He's throwing so many wrenches into their plans alongside the U.S. Marshal who happens to be in the town, who he's so early and immediately calls out Johnny Black for being Johnny Black that he might as well have just been like, all right, well, it's the end of the story. Yeah. But for some reason, he kind of just lets him play along far too long. I guess he thinks he's going to get himself caught in his own trap. But he also becomes a thorn in this guy's side, and as such, this guy calls upon the Rough Riders, a group of Rough Riders to come and burn the place down. And it would have been crazy if it was DMX and Jen and Eve, but no, it is a group that is now incorporated, the bandit Brent, and they are coming to take the place out. But Johnny and everybody eventually stops this, and that's the end of Outlaw Johnny Black.
So you mentioned something earlier about how he blatantly just says it. I'm going to finish it either way. Mm-hmm. But that he just blatantly says what his issue is. What did he say that his issue is?
So eventually, the climax of the movie is that he is to give a sermon. And he actually was almost able to get himself out of having to do this sermon because the actual pastor shows up. Right? So he is so he makes the pastor present himself as deacon.
Deacon. What? Deacon now is 4?
No, it's deacon.
Oh, okay. I thought you had
his
like
first
deacon.
And his last name is Deacon.
Right. So he's the deacon.
Yes.
Yeah.
The night before the sermon, the deacon is left with I'm forgetting her name, Erica Ash's character, and who she thinks is Johnny. So she ends up having relations with him in the dark.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, was it? Did she? How could you?
It's pure. It was like just in complete darkness. Meanwhile, actual Johnny is out at the pastor's.
Oh, wouldn't you know?
You would think you would know. The two of them are not physically very similar.
Yeah, Michael Jai White is not built like Bullhorn.
No.
He's not built like Byron at all.
So The actual Johnny himself is out in the original pastor's plot because he found information pertaining to what he thought was going to be treasure. He finds out that it's oil, and that's when he runs into Jesse, who shows that it's oil. And they almost have a kiss before she has to leave because her brother, who is kicked by a mule and is not well in the head, interrupts. So the sermon is going to happen. Bullhorn, we'll call him, is supposed to give it. Now, Eric Ash's character happens to come back upon Johnny, thinking that he was the one she had relations with that night. And Johnny is able to put two and two together and realizes that she actually had sex with Bullhorn. But she thinks it's him. And he realizes that messes up his potential with Jesse. So he comes upon Bullhorn. Now, Bullhorn, because he realizes, like, he knows that Johnny stole his identity and everything. So he's not happy about it. So the two of them argue and end up arguing loud enough that everybody realizes that Johnny has his voice, so he has to give the sermon. Now, as he starts to kind of flounder, he suddenly remembers his father's sermon from earlier in the movie, in the flashback, and he's able to give it, like, basically line for line. And as such, everyone kind of goes, oh, he must be the actual pastor since he gave such a fire sermon. But in reality, while he was giving that sermon, because it's something that he suddenly remembered, it also changed his demeanor and how he thought. So at the end of the movie, he does not want to kill Brent. And in fact says, like, this entire time I've been holding on to hatred. And instead of holding on to the hatred for what I've always thought it was, which was for justice, I realized that I've just selfishly been holding on to pain, which has been doing nothing but causing me pain and making me cause others pain.
Oh, wow.
So he basically comes full circle back to his original self, and
back when he was a kid with a traveling.
Mm-hmm.
What a righteous revelation.
Yep, and he basically determines. So the two of them have another standoff.
Oh, like after this
beginning,
revelation?
Yeah, because Brent didn't care. So
got it.
They do the quick hands thing, and once again, like his father before him, he holds up a Bible.
And this time,
and then Brent's like, so that's when Brent finally realizes who he is, because to him, like, he didn't know that kid was going to grow up to be Johnny Black. He was just like, okay, I get what's going on here and who you are, because he never actually says, like, I think he does actually say you killed my father, but that's just one of those, like, you know, like in Bison things where it's like, I killed your father, like. Me killing your father was like one of the most important events in your life, but for me it was a Tuesday.
Like, I've killed plenty of people's fathers. Like, this isn't. Yeah.
So he's holding up the Bible, and Brent's like, oh, okay. So he then again goes to shoot like he did Johnny's dad, but Johnny's too quick, and he actually moves his hand and reveals that he's holding a gun. In his the hand that he's holding the Bible with, but he's holding it in a way that has like his fingers on the trigger. So he flips and he shoots the gun out of Brent's hand.
Dang.
And it's kind of funny because he's just been sitting here preaching that he's changed man and that he's not gonna. But then, and Bullhorn actually starts, like, after that happens, and he's like, "All right, brother. It's good to see that you've done this, but you don't have to." And then Brent goes to, like, grab his other gun, and Johnny just shoots him 5 times. And he's...
So lessons were lessons
they
learned?
were learned because he says something to the effect of, like, something like forgiveness has been, can be granted, but also justice. So in this case, he actually believes he did it for
balance
justice
the
as opposed
scales
to revenge.
More so than okay, gotcha. You know, something I wasn't sure if this was intentional, like if the expectation was, you know, people that were familiar with Black Dynamite would watch this, which would make sense, but there felt to be times with Deacon, where he was about to go full bullhorn with like everything he says is a rhyme, but it was like he was talking in that cadence, and then I would think, okay, he's going to rhyme, and then he would just like not. And I'm like, okay, is that supposed to be sort of juxtaposed against bullhorn? Or am I just like sort of making something up because I am expecting?
It could be that, but also just think that like both of them are based off of like a similar like trope, and that to me bullhorn is based off of like a southern like preacher, like his cadence, like his knack for rhyming. Like if he wasn't a pimp, I think those things are something that you would apply to a southern preacher, which he plays in Outlaw Johnny Black.
Dang, well, how do you fall back? How is that your fallback? I didn't make it as a pimp, so I became a preacher.
So I think I think it was an appropriate character for him to play. I mean, so many of the things are appropriate, and like I said, it's not that I don't like the movie. It's just like I don't like it nearly as much as I like Dynamite.
Yeah.
And it just takes too long to finally get to the part where I'm finally like enjoying myself and like having a good time and laughing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's by design or if it was just they wanted to make a different movie that ended up becoming the movie that it was.
I feel it feels like I remember when watching the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman. I love that movie so much, but there's definitely, I would say, not necessarily scenes, but shots that they could have trimmed down. Like certain shots didn't need to last as long as they did, so it could be like maybe like a few minutes shorter. But then this movie, I feel like it could have been like a half hour shorter. Like there were just certain jokes that I think, to your point about the whole preacher thing with Johnny Black and how long that went on, because from what you're saying and not having finished the movie yet, like it doesn't come full circle that people realize who he is until like much later, like almost towards the movie's very end, if at all. So like keeping that going, like come on. It just felt like there were certain times when they were lingering on certain scenes where it was just like additional dialogue that didn't really add anything to, like it didn't add anything much to like how I characterize those people or my interpretation of their character. It didn't add like a laugh, and so it just kind of felt like it was just there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a lot of that. I think part of it may just be that like the part where he gets to the town up until Bullhorn shows back up, I think that stretch might just be too long.
Yes, because as I was watching it, dude, there was literally a point where I don't know what it was. It just kind of the switch flipped, and it was like now it feels like it's finding its rhythm. Mm-hmm. And then just like you said, it was like it took too long though. It took too long, and I know we've talked about like writing shows and wanting to do movies, and it would be awesome. But like I think as we watch more and more movies, you start to realize those things. Like there really truly is a rhythm. And beats that it's working almost like mathematically in a way that just makes sense, that if you are off beat, that it's hard to get that audience member to recover, because it's like, damn dude, like it's been like an hour and you're finally just finding your rhythm.
Yeah, it took a minute, honestly. Like, and I mean, if any of them hear it, I'm not trying to like dog you guys or anything like that, but like,
not at all.
It honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that like Tony showed up more, been kind of like out of this movie, because it was just like, oh, and then finally it started to get its feet going a little bit, and kind of hate to say it, but I think it may have just been too much Michael Jai White. There are just large swaths in the movie where it's just him, and it's like you really need the use of the rest of that, like that ensemble cast you have to like really get it going. Mm-hmm. And
do you think that's because of also like how long the movie is? Like,
yeah, I mean the movie does need to be shorter.
Yeah,
I think without a doubt.
Thinking about like Black Dynamite, there's a lot of Black Dynamite, but it doesn't feel, because I guess when you think about Black Dynamite, I'm trying to think through scenes. Like, are there a lot of scenes in Black Dynamite where Black Dynamite isn't? Well, actually, no. There are a number of scenes where Black Dynamite isn't in the shot, or is not just him being alone. Is that where you're referring to?
Yeah, that's
like
what I'm saying. Like him being by
himself?
himself. Yeah, because I mean, with Black Dynamite, honestly, even like Black Dynamite scenes never like overstay their welcome. There's constant, like you would think like the constant change would be like, oh, that's too much, but like it's just always hitting its beat perfectly. Like as soon as it's like you got that joke out, all right, breathe a little bit onto like something new. With Outlaw Johnny Black, it's just like they didn't care if they like just kind of sat on something for too long, and at that point I was just like, okay, like this could be better.
Yeah,
this could be better. And then like it finally hits, and you're like, oh, okay, you got me laughing. Like you got Tommy Davidson's out there like being. Oh, like he was like a minor 49er or something like that.
I don't know why, like his demeanor reminded me of Cletus the Slackjaw Yokel.
I can see that
from like The Simpsons.
Cletus the Slackjaw Yokel.
So I don't know if this came back around, but something that from the moment this joke storyline started, I was already over it. Is when Bullhorn wakes up, and then there's the Native American that's like very clearly a dude with, I don't know where they would have gotten that makeup from, and it's just like, why would you? It serves to me like it.
I gotta
serves
be honest.
Did they circle back to that? Like,
I was sitting here like, this joke is not funny.
It's not. I don't know. I don't like. Why did you expect that?
They go, oh, why is this in here? They come back. So like,
okay.
And what actually really is like a pretty funny part. So the Rough Riders show up, and there's like 40 of them, and originally it's just the townsfolk, because Johnny had actually. So Johnny got found out. I shouldn't even say Johnny got found out. He basically, after he had the sermon, he gave himself up. And then Tony gives Bullhorn the key to the cell, which Bullhorn puts into a Bible, and then he gives Johnny the Bible. And so Johnny eventually gets out, and he then heads up to where the white dude is. Tony's there
which
as
one?
well. The rich white dude.
Okay.
So Tony is there as well. Him and Tony devise a plan, because the rich white dude has now kidnapped Jesse, and eventually plans on like doing things he shouldn't be doing, and eventually kill her. But Tony,
I'm sorry, that's his plan, or that's what he?
That's just what he's gonna do. He needed her out the way regardless, because she was too influential. So he's got her in his house. Tony shows up and provides a distraction for Johnny to get Jesse. The two of them get out, and then Johnny kills the guys that are with the rich white dude, and then Tony arrests the rich white dude. So they're all out.
Does rich white dude have a name?
He does. I just don't remember it. It's not important to the story. So they're out there. So like they're out away from the town. So when the Rough Riders come into town, it's just the townsfolk. And then, sadly, Tommy Davidson is killed. And then,
again.
Johnny shows up, and Johnny and Jesse show up, and they're like, we're going to stand and fight. And Brent's like, there are 40 of us, and only like 5 of you actually have guns. And then the marshal shows back up. I don't know if he got to the point where the marshal was killed, but supposedly he was killed. But it turns out that he didn't actually get killed.
Okay.
The gun, like he got shot, but he didn't actually die. So he's back with his boys.
So another red herring death. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So he's back with his boys, and Brent's like, okay, I mean, that's still only like 10 of you. But then like Tony shows up. He's like, okay, but still we like outgun you guys. And then a group of people who have never been seen in this entire movie just show up. One of them is Phoenix Dr. Wu. I forget the dude's name.
Roger
like
Wan.
Roger Wan. I think
so.
Like
do
that.
we have like a Sinners moment where finally like all these other people that were at the juke joint just like show up to be vampire fodder.
Like, they just like show up, and he's like, oh,
Nice.
okay, that's weird, but all right. And then he goes to say something. Now, Bullhorn has been missing as well. Like after he helped Johnny escape, he's and Bessie went to go see Johnny because she thought he would know where Bullhorn was, and he's like, I don't know. But so now they're in the middle of the town square. Everybody's getting like he's still like, we still outnumber you guys, and all of a sudden you hear Bullhorn, think again, my friend. And then he comes around and he's got the Native Americans with him. Okay. Gotcha. And it's so funny because Brent's like, how do you even hear me? Because the cadence that I just gave you is how soft he was talking because Johnny was right in front of him. Mm-hmm. And so he says it so like it's so off. Like it's like it's like the actor himself said it. He's like, how do you even hear me?
It seems like it would kind of be like how at the end of Avengers Endgame, how Captain America didn't yell assemble for like people on the outskirts. Like I could see them being
I've
like,
always
what
made
did he
the
say?
assumption that like he yelled assemble and then people just saw other people move and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess there's that too.
I remember I wanted to do a skit at the time that happened where like it would have been just like us with like a green screen and we'd been like running like some Wakanda gear. Like, what did he say? What?
I don't know. Did we start yet?
Did we
And then you
start?
see
And
like
then you
the
see
center
people
of the
moving,
line.
Here
We're going. That's the only reason why we survived. It's because we didn't hear it. We were way on the flanks.
But so they even the field, the playing field, and then the fight begins.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I wish I had more to say about this movie. I just really don't. It's crazy because it's so long. It's such a long movie, but it was the second half of it I liked a lot. Mm-hmm. The first half of it not so much.
So for you, I'm curious. Is it like a hit or miss? Like, could you see yourself watching the entire movie again just to get to the last like hour of the film?
I could watch the movie again.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't mind watching the movie again. It probably wouldn't be my sole focus. Like I might be,
cooking,
or doing something.
Yeah, dude.
Just so there's something to do during the times where I would be like, oh boy.
Dude, yeah, I'd probably be baking some cookies on the second.
And it's not to say that I just like I said, I didn't hate the movie. It just it whelmed me.
You sound like a little bit like Robin. We got some Teen Titans vibe. Why is no one? Oh, not Teen Titans. It was Young Justice. I think is when he uttered that line. Why is no one ever? He was always like, why is no one ever just whelmed? Why is it always under or overwhelmed?
And I think that's because we recognize our highs and our lows more so than we do the middle ground that we live throughout most of our lives. So when I think something just satisfies you, just whelms you, you don't think about it as much as something that like over satisfies or under satisfies you.
Do you think a Snickers does that? Do you think a Snickers is just a whelm?
Snickers.
I was wondering how that happened. You changed the vowel and there's a totally new conversation.
A Snickers bar, I think it never just satisfies. I think it can either over satisfy or under satisfy. And it all is dependent upon like the composition of the bar itself. If it's one where like you're not a big nut fan and it's got too many nuts in it,
okay,
like man, it's under satisfied me. And if it's one that's like just correct, you're like, man, that was good. But I also don't think it's something that you're like, I've never eaten a Snickers and said, man, I really need another Snickers.
Unless it was like a fun size Snicker for me.
If it's a bite-sized Snicker, then that's like you need like 12 of them to constitute like one Snicker.
I'm sorry, I know this is way past Outlaw Johnny Black at this point, but you said something. So a Snickers can't be overwhelming. So like, so for
it's
you,
just at the edge of, like, it satisfies to a degree of true satiation, unlike something that just whelms you. Like, something that whelms you is like an okay spaghetti dinner. It doesn't leave you like truly wanting more, but you also like, man, I could have had something better. But it also isn't something that's like so bad that you're like, ugh. It just it did what I guess it needed to do. A Snickers can like if you're at E, a Snickers can put you in the middle.
Okay.
But it's in the middle in a way that like it's not like 2 Snickers will put me at full. It's like okay, it did its job, and I loved it, but I don't need more. Off to go do activities.
So you said that like if you're not a nut person, has too many nuts, as an example, that it can be underwhelming. For you, what type of person are you, and what would the Snickers need to have most of in order for it to be a like? Oh my gosh, I think
less nuts.
Less nuts. You're not a nut guy.
I am not a nut guy.
Okay.
It took me like I am a texture person, and I am not a big fan of like inserting texture into smooth things. So like I don't like crunchy peanut butter. I'm not a fan of like Mr. Good bars or
those are just not that great.
But oddly enough, like I think because it's not supposed to be a smooth thing, something like a Payday bar, I have no problems with because it's all texture as opposed to like being smooth and then like some crunchy shit inside of it. And I'm also not even that big of a fan of something like a Nestle Crunch.
I feel like you're just naming candy bars that are like bottom tier candy bars already.
You want to know what my favorite candy bars are? My favorite candy bars are the ones that people typically say suck. Three Musketeers and Milky Ways. Those are my 2 favorite candy bars.
I'm okay with the Milky Way. Three Musketeer though, that is shocking. Three Musketeer to me is like what?
Three Musketeer.
Interesting.
It's like chocolate with air, like creamy air on the inside of it. That nougat.
It's like a pillow.
It's a pillow.
Way. Yeah,
it is a pillow. It's such good. You like. No, it doesn't. I think I would have liked the what was it? The Nestle Alpine White bar. I would have enjoyed that if it was around.
Nestle Alpine White bar? Are you just talking about the cookies and cream bar?
The white chocolate bar, not the cookies and cream bar. N-E-S-T-L-E-S.
Oh yeah, dude, that commercial. Thank you for showing me that, by the way.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
it's been an episode
the fact
of
that we talked about candy bars for the past 10 minutes. Let you know, we are done with this episode. I'd like to thank you guys again for listening. If you can for us, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what your favorite candy bar is. If you've made it to the end,
yes,
I want you to put in what your favorite candy bar is, what your least favorite candy bar is, and why, if you think it's a Milky Way or a Three Musketeers, you're wrong. Thank you guys for listening. This is Damon.
And this has been Farron.
And this has been yet another episode of Panharmonicon Studios Presents.
A podcast. That was me eating the Snickers.
Oh.
That wouldn't sound like that. Thanks guys for listening.
See
See you guys.
See you.